about today's menu?
Hi, it's Brian Allee-Walsh Les East, NewOrleans.com. Well, another Monday ball practice and under a scorching sun. What's the one thing that we need to report right off the bat involving Robert Meacham?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest development today. He was activated from the active PUP list.
Explain to our listeners what that means, Les.
Okay, when he was placed on the active PUP list at the start of training camp, as were Darren Sharper and Clint Ingram, which meant he was unable to pass a physical and therefore had not been cleared to practice. And it reserved the right to put him on the regular season PUP list, which would mean he would be out for the first 6 weeks, which would mean
minimum, right,
which would mean they wouldn't have put him on injured reserve. He'd be able to come back during the season. So they protected that option. He's since passed the physical, been cleared to practice, participated in team drills for the first time today, and seemed no worse for the wear. Sean Payton seemed to think everything's okay. Robert seemed okay.
And now for our listeners, it means also that he cannot be placed on PUP for the season. If
Right.
it's IR now or nothing. So as
Correct.
you said so eloquently earlier, they've thrown all their cards on the table here. He's either going to be on the active roster or he'll be IR from here on out.
Correct. So they've made the determination that it's time to get to work with him, with the expectation that he'll be full go from here on out.
And he explained his surgery. It's you can read more about it on NewOrleans.com later today. But he says he's feeling pretty good. There's still some pain, throbbing in that the second big toe on his left foot, but he's a gamer. There's two other guys, Darren Sharper and Clint Ingram, who remain on active PUP. And Sean Payton was asked today, are they behind schedule? And he was vague. Essentially about it. He said, no, they're not really behind schedule. We're just waiting to see. So,
and the reason I asked him that was when we met with Mickey Loomis the day before training camp started, he said that he expected all the active PUP guys to be on the practice field prior to the New England game.
Right.
So that's why we started to wonder if maybe these guys were behind schedule. So we'll see. It continues to be a day-by-day thing with him.
And then there are some guys that did get back on the field today. Adrian Arrington with his shoulder, Thomas Morstead with the shoulder, and then Usama Young is still out, and no update from Sean on him. We've got the Texans coming in here Wednesday and Thursday, and as we also have potentially bad weather coming our way, and they have a contingency plan in the event the weather strikes us on Wednesday. Would you update us on that?
Yeah, well, Sean said at this point it looks like they'll probably have to go indoors. And he said they can accommodate both teams inside the indoor practice facility. I imagine quarters will be a little bit cramped in there with two 80-team rosters in there, but he said they're prepared to do that. That seems to be the most likely scenario at this point. Did not rule out possibly going into the Superdome at some point, but he said they can do it here if need be. So it looks like that's the most likely thing right now, is that Wednesday's practices against the Texans will be here. Weather could be better by Thursday, so we'll see what happens with that.
And also, Sean said that this is one of the better practices of camp. There was live goal line work. Chris Ivory scored twice on short runs, and Patrick Ramsey and David Thomas connected on a short touchdown pass. There was good live work, and like I said, Sean called it one of the better practices of camp. So spirits are picking up, and we know when the Texans come in that it's going to be physical. And I talked to a couple of players about the difference in preparing to play the practice against the Texans as opposed to the Patriots. It's going to be different. It's going to be a different climate, and in fact, I'm looking forward to it. But this afternoon's practice, as scheduled, 4:50, but it will be indoors and closed to the public. The next available open practice is tomorrow morning at 8:50. For Les East, I'm Brian Allee-Walsh. Tune in for more updates on NewOrleans.com this afternoon, and we'll talk to you next time.
Right. Hello again, everybody. How's he taking?